In this video, I'm gonna do my best at finding ways to get these drivers to improve his lap time in this specific circuit. So let's get started. So onto the main straight. Using the whole track on the left, all the way to the white line, that is really good. No comments about it. So we are attacking very aggressively. So let's watch it again. I like this approach. What I think is that possibly we could have used slightly more. I like the way we attack the curbs at the apex. What I think is that we could have possibly used a bit more because we don't seem to be perfectly over the next to the grass. I think we have like 10-20 centimeters of margin if we look at it. So it's difficult to see exactly, but I speculate we have a little bit of margin in this area. I think we have a bit of margin. So I'm not sure exactly whether it pays off to drive over there, but I would try. If I was driving there, I would try. You know, I don't know this specific circuit, so I can't tell. But if we could open up the entry a little bit, we would be able to carry a little bit more speed down there, even though it's a flat out section, as I can hear from the sound of the engine. It looks like we're flat out all the way through. Though, since the curb is quite flat, I would have tried to possibly use a bit more of it, since it does look like it's going to unsettle us. But other than that, good job. I mean, I really like the way you attack the curbs. That's very good. Also this one, we are attacking really nicely, using absolutely almost everything, but I wouldn't use more than this from this one because you want to have a good exit. So I think, you know, perhaps if we use a bit too much, maybe it's going to unsettle a bit the car. And so I like the way that you're keeping one, like the right hand side tires over the white line. That's good. So we're getting 20 centimeters from the white line, 30 centimeters. That's pretty good. The only thing I wanted to see, all right, here's something I think we can improve. All right, so far until here, I wouldn't change pretty much anything except, as I mentioned, turn one, we could use a bit more curb. What I see from here is that we're giving up a little bit of track there. We're giving up 30-40 centimeters of track there because we want to seemingly prepare more for the left. But what I see from the steering is that we're not very sharp in bringing the car back to the left. So what I think we could have done is to bring the car a bit more to the left. Now, I don't know whether the grip level here, right? So this is our line. So basically our cart is pointing in this direction, right? My amazing drawing. So now with this is our direction, all right? We can all probably agree that if you went tighter, right? If you went tighter, we can all probably agree that you would have gone slower, right? Because, you know, the tighter line gives you worse exit. But about the exit, you know, but the entry, we should have think about the other opposite, which would have been to open up a little bit more, right? Trying to be on this extreme of preparation, right? So what I think is that there's a potential improvement in here by opening up the corner more, by being a bit more aggressive in the preparation for the previous corner. So this is the point. I don't know whether the grip level here is 100%, all right? I think that where you are has a pretty good grip level, but I don't know if this is 100% as well. Like, it's all about, that's why from this kind of video analysis, I can't tell you exactly what you have to do because it's just guesses. You know, right now I cannot know whether the grip level on track here is the same as here or the same as here. What I can definitely say is that in this place, the grip level cannot be 100. It probably is like 95 or something, you know? My amazing 9. Oh my God. So yeah, that's 9. So what I would say is that because nobody, or very few people come here, there's not so much rubber there. There's not so much grip. So, you know, here's the grip level is not so high, but here I would assume they're pretty similar. You know, some drivers are doing the like in the medium, like line in the middle, and like call it 3/4, not really in the middle, and somebody are doing probably the very wide open line. So I think we can definitely give it a try. It doesn't look like this part of the track is dirty enough to not use it. So I would definitely try to use that because remember, I don't know if you're familiar with data, but like, so let's make a mark here. The more open you are, okay, so let's say this is the blue, this is your current line. Let's make this like this is your arrival on the straight, you're braking, this is the minimum speed and this is the exit. So the yellow if this was, if we were to simulate a telemetry of this, the yellow is tighter, so it's going to lose on the mid-exit. And normally the entry doesn't really suffer, it's just the mid-exit. So let's say the entry is like the same or a bit faster, but then the mid-exit is bad, okay? Because the angle here is not good. You know, you cannot have the same exit as the purple. The purple would be in this way. Probably the one who's like losing a little bit on the entry because it's setting up more. But then it's gonna be the one who has the best mid-exit of them all. So if I would have to have 3 different laps, 3 different lines here, I would probably speculate the purple is gonna be the best one. So it's just a matter of trying. Let me know how it goes. But I'm pretty convinced this is gonna give you lap time. By opening up to the left, you're gonna have better mid-exit speed. Track usage is pretty good. You see the delta is 53, but it's gonna be, yeah, now it's 36. So it's, okay, by the way, just on a side note, delta is never perfect. Like, you know, you cannot only rely on the delta. But you can see here, the delta is like 53 now. But then as you just go on further, it's like 36. So it means like you probably gain on the entry, but you lost quite a bit on the exit. So remember what I showed you in the data. I think we're losing a bit on the exit because of the entry, because the entry wasn't all the way to the left. Or maybe you don't have to be all the way to the left, but opening up a bit more, I think is going to work. I can feel there's a bit of banking in this corner because I can see this part is lower than this part. So it's good that you're going at the apex relatively early because to catch the banking, you know. But I think you could have gone even faster if you went more open. So let's not make it too complicated. I hope you understand what I mean. This is all good. So far, so good. No complaints. Nothing to say. All right, I have a couple of comments about this corner to make it even better. I mean, it's probably a 9 out of 10. It's already quite a good corner. If you look at it, like you make the apex properly and the exit track usage is almost spot on. So I mean, I can't give too many comments, but here, listening to the sound of just the corner, listen again. Like, okay, so I don't hear a proper lockup from the tires. Now, I am a driver that really likes locking up, and I think it's needed to arrive at the at the limit of locking up when you lock up a little bit the tires, because it means you're on the limit, right? And with with juniors and seniors, with minis too, but juniors and seniors, I think it's more important to arrive at the lockup because you just take advantage of all the braking and you're able to slow down as efficiently as possible. Yes, of course, it depends on the grip level on track. Yes, of course, it depends on the tire grip you have, but normally a decent amount of like stopping and locking, it pays off. And it looks like from the steering wheel that you are driving an OTK chassis. That's always really good on the brakes. So I think you can take advantage of the braking and stop nicely. So track usage is pretty spot on. I think we could be 5 centimeters more over the white line, if you ask me, like, what, absolutely everything. The moment you hit the brakes, I do see a tiny bit of rear movement. So it's like you do brake decent hard, but I think we could be even harder. We do have a rear coming a little bit, but it's not enough. I think you can do a better job here, okay? But good effort. I mean, I do see a little bit of a micro lock, but I think we could do a bit more and hold the brakes a little bit longer. That's going to even generate more rotation from the car. That's going to help. Regarding the apex, nothing to say. Well done. I do see a lot of steering wheel. So I'm not a big fan of having a lot of steering angle in the middle of the corners. And normally it's two things. Either the setup is too understeer, which we need to just work around it with the mechanic. So you just make a car more reactive in the front or just more loose in the rear, but normally I like more reactive in the front. And the second part is by driving. So with the driving style, you can induce the rotation by braking harder later and get the car to rotate on its own. Normally, this is a bit too neutral / understeery for me, and I don't think this is gonna, is the ultimate way of driving. I think you need to have the almost like a straight steering wheel in the middle of the corner to be absolutely perfect in this. I think we have a bit too much steering angle in this area. So yeah, I think if we had a bit more rotation, either from the setup or from the driving, for sure you can induce a bit more rotation with the brakes. That's gonna help. You use the curb pretty well. Like, I don't think we should use more curb. I mean, it's like there's probably like we would have to slow the car down too much for that, but the curb looks pretty flat. Track usage, probably we can use 10 centimeters more. I mean, it's like we're almost perfect. We could use 10 centimeters more. This one too, let me see, let me show you. So with this one, I just think we could brake a tiny bit harder, a tiny bit harder. You know, I don't hear any lockup. I don't see the steering slightly moving. I'm not saying you should be like sideways, but I'm like, I just don't think you're overly committed on the brakes. I think you're just trying to go a bit too much for the exit. I see there's good banking in this corner. Like, guys, just for everybody to watch, look at the banking. This is this is the outside and this is the inside. Look at the difference. Like, this is the difference. That's the banking, right? So there's quite a bit of banking. So I understand you want to go quite early at the apex. So you want to catch the banking and get more grip. That's good. So far, so good. I just kindly ask you to try to brake a bit deeper, a bit harder, and trying to get the car to rotate a bit more. Because now you can see once again, I feel like we're not fully on the limit. Because look how much understeer we pick. Oh my gosh, my frames. What's going on? Like, to me, this is understeer, mate. I feel like this is a bit of understeer, and it's not gonna help you with the lap time because it doesn't generate maximum rotation. So you're on the throttle right at the apex, so that's really good. I just kind of need you to go a bit quicker on the entry. Exit wise, I think we're fine. All fine here. Coming down into the last corner. All right, couple of things here as well. So let's come back to it. What you'll see is that I don't see a sharp braking. It's like I don't hear any micro lockup. I don't feel like you're biting on the brakes. I don't know if the car is maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's just the car is not stopping properly. But you know, in case everything is properly on the brakes, so like you have new pads or like good like pads that are in a good state, and you have like done like the brake bleeding, and so you know that the braking is efficient. Once you are aware that the braking is efficient, then you need to make sure you're pushing the limit a bit here. I think the line is really good. I mean, you're preparing all the way to the left. That's perfect. I just kindly suggest you to try to go a bit deeper because visually, you know, even though I've never been in this track and I don't even know where this track is, but my perception is just that on the entry, it's too easy. You know what I mean? It's like too easy to control. And normally when it's too easy to control, it means you're not on the limit. Like Mario Andretti, I think, famously said that like if everything feels under control, it means you're not going fast enough. And I think it totally relates in this case. Like I never see any counter steering, or like I'm not suggesting you have to be like that, but I just feel like you're not on the edge. That's my take on it. I would want you to see like you're a bit too on the rails. Okay. Apex point is perfect. I think the other thing I would have suggested is to try to go a tiny bit, like use a bit more track on the exit, like a tiny bit. Like, listen, I don't know whether you have the same amount of grip level over here. I mean, this is a bit too much maybe, but possibly you could do a little bit less. Like, you know, it's something in between, like somewhere here. You could use a bit more track. It's gonna release a little bit more the steering wheel. And you know, I see these black marks over here. It means people like either by mistake or by choice. I mean, not by choice, I think, but like by mistake they use a bit too much track and like they just tap the wall. But yeah, maybe they had just some crashes in the races and they never cleaned it up. So I can't say, but I would probably use a tiny bit of track here and there. In this case, I think that's gonna help like a couple of hundreds, launching you down the straights with a little bit more speed. But overall, I'm pretty happy. It's really good driving from this video. I don't think there's like half a second in this video for sure, but possibly 2/10 or so to be found mainly on the entries by just attacking a bit the braking. And yeah, if you do so, I think you're gonna find some lap. And the delta says you're minus 6/10 from the previous lap, so that's good. That's good news. But overall, I think if you attack a bit the entries and like trying to get the car to rotate, even when the setup has not a lot of rotation, you have to try to induce the rotation with the pedal, like with the braking, instead of just like trying to turn aggressively. No, we don't have to do it with that. I think we have to do it mostly with the brakes to get the car to rotate with the brake pedal, which most Formula 1 drivers do, and you should be able to do it too. I mean, it will take a bit of training. It's gonna take a bit of time, But yeah, once you're able to rotate the car with the brakes, you'll see that you're gonna be able to brake deeper, and just, yeah, you're gonna get better lap times overall. So I hope that helped, and I'll see you.